Hello and welcome. I'd like to introduce you to Cayo Suspend for Active Directory, the solution that temporarily or permanently suspends Active Directory users and groups. The challenges of denying access are many. Primarily, organizations have employees that join and leave. Some employees leave temporarily for military deployments, medical, or other personal reasons. Some employees leave permanently due to termination, maybe a voluntary separation, or retirement. Contractors and part-time employees have very similar scenarios, but much shorter durations of employment. Throughout those processes of joining and leaving, compliance and security requirements dictate that controls have to be in place to quickly and accurately revoke access when an employee's status with the organization changes. IT admins are busy, yet they still need to increase security, apply consistent IT policy, reduce the risk to the organization, sustain their compliance efforts, and improve their overall efficiency, despite having a lot of these interruptions where employees are coming and going. Unfortunately, cloud applications and mobile aren't helping either, because they use Active Directory inconsistently and they further disconnect IT. So what is the real problem? Revoking access is a complex process. It must be done quickly and accurately. And unfortunately, the solutions provided natively are not enough, namely disabling or deleting accounts. Unfortunately, disabling a user doesn't fully secure the object. It makes it vulnerable. Deleting a user doesn't retain the object, and that object may be needed later for auditing, management, or security operations. Unfortunately, within Active Directory, the ability to disable a group simply doesn't exist. And again, deleting a group doesn't retain the group, which means that anytime you might need it for auditing, management, or security operations, it won't be there. It'll just simply disappear as it's deleted. Unfortunately, existing solutions are part of the problem. The solutions offered by the industry are typically way too complex for smaller organizations. They actually have a high failure rate in larger organizations, primarily due to the complexity, and they're designed and built before cloud and mobile was really a strong concept in the industry. To further aggravate things, failure to deprovision or to suspend access is going to be costly. Material findings during audits cause all sorts of turmoil. It's typically a top-down problem. Costly fines result from those violations, and there are all sorts of examples where SOX, HIPAA, or PCI violations have cost organizations tons of money. Unfortunately, security breaches happen as well due to the incorrect process or having no process for suspending access for users. We all have heard the story about someone leaving an organization and they continue to get email or they log in later to resources that they should only have access to while they were a part of the organization. All of these things happening and each problem that arises decreases IT's overall efficiency. There has to be a better answer. The ideal solution is Cayo Suspend, the solution that temporarily or permanently suspends users and groups with both speed and accuracy. The suspend policy workflow both controls and automates the suspend process, and it's also very easy to use. The solution is auditor-friendly and has detailed reports that are just a click away. So if anyone asks, how was that user deprovisioned, you can click the report and provide that either by email or print it out for your auditor. Undo suspend restores the original state immediately, and it also is only a click away. One of the better aspects of the solution is that it's extremely simple to deploy and even simpler to maintain. Setup typically takes less than 2 minutes. The solution works in almost any size environment from the very small to the very large. Here's an example of the policy workflow that's embedded within the solution. An administrator sees the need for making a change. Either there's been a change of employment, there's a notice of an audit, or they want to investigate. There are two options. First, the user can be suspended without question because it's a non-destructive act. If the eventual goal is to temporarily suspend the user because they're on some sort of leave but will need the account later, then you have the option of restoring that at a future date and time, again with a simple click. If the goal is to permanently suspend the object, then the object can be terminated or deleted in the future after some retention period, and all of the attributes and group memberships are automatically cleaned up. Now, occasionally mistakes are made, so if somebody mistakenly suspends an object, again, right-click undo restores the object back to its fully restored and usable state. Some of the policies that are mandatory or required by auditors or security personnel: for suspended users, it's to prevent the logon, to update specific attributes so that they're no longer being used, potentially could be used to drive group memberships, or could be used to grant access to resources through claims or other types of policy mechanisms. Relocate the object to an OU where it's held for a period of time. Remove the user's group memberships. Retain the object for 90 days or until some specific date. And then also you need to be able to report on that object. So you need some way to store the changes that were made so that you can bring that information back in the future. When you suspend groups, there are a slightly different set of policies that apply. You need to be able to prevent the use of the group for security and distribution list operations. Update and clear attributes for the very same reasons that you might update and clear attributes for a user. Relocate the object to an OU where it will be held for a period of time. Remove the members of the group. Here's one that's a little different from your user. You might want to remove this group's membership in other groups. So if you've nested this group into other groups in the directory, you might want to clear those memberships. Set an object retention period, either a period of time or a specific date. And then, of course, you need to have some place to store the report information and have a policy that is taken into account there as well. Cayo Suspend provides all of these for both types of objects. And there's one little asterisk next to object retention settings. It's important to note that to retain the object and to have a consistent and reliable mechanism that will scan the directory and enforce that particular policy, we also suggest you implement a second product from Cayo called the Cayo Policy Manager. It is a service that monitors the directory and looks for suspended objects and enforces the retention period. So how does this work? Well, it's very, very simple. Once it's installed, we integrate directly into the native tools. So all you have to do is find the object that needs to be suspended, right-click the object, and there's a new menu called Suspend. Now we do this without any kind of schema extensions required. Once Suspend is selected, dialog is presented, and you now have all of those policies in place. The administrator gets to make his choices or her choices, and then they click Submit. And again, undoing that process is just as simple. It's a right click and undo. The product is licensed as part of the Cayo Admin Essentials bundle. It can also be purchased separately. It is licensed incrementally by enabled user in Active Directory for the domain to be managed. There are two license modes. One is perpetual and one is subscription. We also have two support models, a standard and a premium support package. After watching this video, next steps would be to watch a live demo or to watch a recorded demo. You can get those on cayo.com. You can download a free trial. When you download the product, it automatically includes a 25-day free trial license that's fully functional, and will provide help if you need it during that period. You may also want to get a price quote to see if it's affordable. This simple solution is typically affordable for any environment, whether it's a small organization or a large organization. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit more about Cayo Suspend.